bitches.
Hey! Hi, peoples. Hello, hello. Hi, Mau Mau. Hi, Cupcake. Hello, hello, hello. Do we need a starting screen? I normally just wait for the ad to finish and then I start. But, Moose! Hi, Moose! Hi, Moose! Hello, hello! Okay. We're doing Bouse kills today. Is Moose joining Mau Mau? Does Moose need to kill bosses? Do you need to kill bosses? I think you already said you did, but I'm just asking. Who all needs their bosses killed? I need to... Oh, I did wind trace today. Because fuck that shit. And I only did it until 3,000 points because... That's all I needed. For fucking... For Primo rewards only. I cannot be asked to do the others. I will not do the others. For XP books? And a weapon material? No. It's not happening. I'd rather die than do that shit. For realsies, not for play. Would much rather die. Moose will join for funsies. Alright, perfect. So we'll start at about 9. So people can join. I need to use one of these. One of those. One of thems. I was farming today. Boop. I do that now. I'm not holding on to my primos anymore. I want to see them boys. How many boys I've got collected. So that's all my primo worth. For wishes. And then if need be, I have got star glitter and some Genesis crystals. Okay. I did dailies and I've been farming. Big house. My girly has got her Ponky Ponks. So I was leveling that today. Why is my Genshin cut off? Oh my god, it's doing this shit again. Ehe tenanda yo. What is going on? Swear to glob. Actually swear to glob. What are you doing? Please, video game. Don't be broken. There we go. Why is it like this? Holy shit. Was it like that for something else? The tracking on my VTuber is kind of weird at the moment as well. I don't know. She's kind of like leaning to the side. Even though I'm not leaning to the side at all. I don't know what she's doing. She's doing her own thing. She on her own mission today. God alone knows what that mission might be, but she's on it. Alrighties. Yeah, my girlie got her stick, her Ponky stick. So that's what I was leveling. Because I didn't really have any Inazuma weapons. I don't have many. So between that and Ito's weapon, I think... Oh, and this one, which I think I just had materials for somehow. But like, Ito's weapon I had to go farm for. Raiden's weapon I had to farm for. I just didn't have the rest of the shit. Hey, Puppety! Just saying hello, currently in the shedding of load. Oh, sorry. Yeah, mine just came back now from load shedding. That's why my stream's a bit later than usual. Because of them load sheddings. Thank you for the confettis, Puppety. I hope you're having a lovely evening. Even my confetti was fucked up. What the? Everything. I may have to go fiddle with all my things at some point. Maybe I can do that tomorrow. Let me write it down so I don't forget, because Lord knows I'm gonna. Is the game sound loud enough? Oh, shit. I do that every time. For fuck's sakes. I want settings. I mean, it's pretty loud. Should be fine. It's just there's no music. We're just sitting here in dead silence. Thanks, Puppety! I hope your load shedding ends soon. And your power comes back. Kick W, Malchi. What are you sending me in DMs, sir? Please. Anyone want blueberry cheesecake ice cream? Oh, cupcake, that sounds amazing, first of all. But also, wait, let me not forget. I opened Discord to remind myself of something, and then I just read Mao's DM instead. Great stuff. Alright. It's gonna be back at 10. That's not too far away, at least. Fix OBS. Shit. Okay, that's on my to-do list. Literally just fix OBS shit. I hope it's back at 10, Puppety. My area is just shit, so I can never trust it coming back. Alright, so, we'll be starting bosses around 9ish, and then I've got a new event to start. This one's done, so I hope y'all did it. I hope your shop is empty, like mine. And then, depending on how much you hated yourself, I did the bare minimum. I got the pre-modes and I got the fuck out. Because I can't stand this event at all. And then this is the new one. I don't remember what this is exactly. Is it the ones where you... I did it with Zhao the last time it came out. Hi, Quaha! Hello, hello. How are you? Hey, Bubble! Fix OBS? Shit. The comma placement is important. Well, I mean... Yes, but in this case it's not necessary. Because it is just... Fix the OBS shit. I gotta fix the shit in OBS. That's misbehaving. Currently. Yeah, so we'll maybe start with this event. My BP is done. Done, and has been. For a while now, but... Yeah, I'm gonna... Oh, I'll use the resin when we fight the bosses, I guess. I don't really need to do the rest of the shit. Obviously, I'm gonna do the boss fights for the materials. I watched a video today, and the person was like, do you need to fight the weekly bosses every week? And they said basically, if it's for the 30, like the discounted amount, sure, do it. And do it for things that you need. Don't be spending 60. If you don't need it, don't be spending 60 per boss. Me, I have piles and piles of the old boss materials, which now we can transfer between them. So, like, there's no way I need to fight these bosses again. I have so many of these things. So, yeah, I don't need to worry about this stuff. Even Azdaha, I have a lot. Signora, I have a lot. Raiden, I have a bit less, but I'm still fighting these three, so it's all good. Hi, Chia! Working on some cosplay stuffs. Ooh, what are you working on? What you making? So yeah, the last three bosses, those are the ones that I fight. Because I don't have a lot of the Raiden stuff. I admittedly do have a lot of the Signora stuff, but I might as well. Why not? What else am I gonna do with my sanity? You know. Why be sane person when you could fight the same 3 bosses that infuriate you every week? Why don't I hate my life? Don't all Genshin players? Yeah, so that's kind of the plan for today. I actually don't know what that event is all about. So let's go start it and let's see, because we get a cool compass. Which we're most likely not going to finish. What did I say? Comic-Con Cape Town. Oh yeah! That's happening literally the month before I moved to Cape Town, so that's cool, I guess. First time working with 1 centimeter foam. You're suffering? Is it difficult? I guess you gotta be really careful. Not to glue something in the wrong place, because there's no pulling that shit off. Even 2 centimeter foam, you stick that down, it's done. You can't pull that shit off. Alright, so as long as you participate in the event, you'll receive not only rewards offered by the Adventurers Guild, but also certain extra special gifts. Yeah? I wasn't expecting to see you at all. What the why? I do all the events, lady. What do you mean? It's my first official job in the guild. Okay. Cool. No, I haven't heard about it. Jack has named the event Across the Wilderness. Which Jack is this? Oh god, she's going too fast. I can't read. Wilderness Balloons. Yes, okay. 10 out of 10. Do I have to shoot the balloons or? Oh. Ah. So we don't need a bow and arrow. You have no game category selected? Oh, thank you, Paragon. I think I tried to do it earlier and my OBS was being a pain in the ass. Thank you, thank you. Alright. Blah, blah, blah. Balloons. Time limits. Okay, find balloons. That's what they're saying. You don't want spoilers? Alright. No worries, Paragon. Let's see. Okay. Wait, the compass gives a blessing? What? Oh, it's fine, Mal. I think, Genshin Impact's in my title as well, which helps. And, most of the people who watch my stream anyway know that I'll be playing this game. They know I ain't got shit to do. Hi, Hassan! How are you doing, my son? Imagine Tato not playing Genshin, right? I've been bugging you for how long now? Over a year? I'm doing good, Hassan. How are you? How are your studies going? Okay, something energy. Balloons. Balloons, okay. Balloon, balloon. Balloon, balloon. That's all I'm reading here is that they're just saying balloons a lot. That's what I'm picking up, is that there are balloons in this event. Locked? No! Oh my god! It's locked by time. I want to die. I hate when they do that. I understand why they do it. So that we don't fucking no-life this shit in a day. But you know. You had a good day, you had an exam and you did good. And then you slept a lot after. Perfect. You woke up and there was no electricity for 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, Hassan. Come live a day in my life. Currently, we've got like, what, 2 to 6 hours? No electricity? Then you can come tell me what Sag is, Hassan. You'll be fine. 20 minutes. I hope your phone was charged. Oh, you don't really use your phone much, do you? Your tablets? Ooh, hello. Increases jump height. Wind tunnel. Search radius. You don't use your phone? I don't know how you guys could handle this. Listen, Hassan, it's been happening for so long. We have like so many backups and so many other ways to deal with it that it's just, this is normal for us, unfortunately. I feel like if South Africans had to go into an apocalypse, we would cope, our mental health would cope the best because we just have so many like solutions and ways to deal with the power going fucking off for extended periods of time. That we would just be ready. We have everything is charged. We've got power banks for days. We've got adapters for charging things in other ways. We have ways. We have solutions that other people wouldn't think of. Be right back. Ray got me juice. It's crazy juice. Okay. Yeah. Imagine 24 hours or more. Oh my gosh. Last year, was it? I think last year I had like almost a whole week without water. And then I had... When was it? I think it was very close to that time as well. I had almost a week with no electricity as well. I had to keep going to like Ray's parents' house to go like charge stuff. That shit was mad, yo. I might just stick with this one and see what it's like. I don't know what I need. I don't know what I need to do even. But I got Yaya Miko, she got long legs. I assume I'm just picking up balloons. I could be wrong. Hi, Beeb! Is the cutest VTuber in the whole world? Where? Show me. Show me, BB. Where is that cute VTuber? I want to meet them. I want to say hi. Whoop. Whoop. It's me. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. How you doing, BB? What? Jesus! Take the wheel. This is Newman way too fast for my small brain. Okay, where am I going? Oh, that's just the energies. Do I need to get all the balloons? Because I see I missed one down here. Whoops. Oh, I see there's more down there. Ah. Ahaha. Is there more? This way? There's this one? Ah! I see, I see. You know, that was probably part of the stuff that I was meant to read and didn't. I'm missing one. Oh. Lol. Lol. What an idiot. It's right there. How could you? Anyway. Hehe. But it is so. Couldn't be me. You use your phone for Instagram stories? Oh. Ronaldo's new football. I don't keep up with football, Hassan, so I don't know what happened. But what happened? Why do you feel bad for him? Oh! Did I click the wrong option there? Release me from this hell. Oh wait, it just leaves me in Mondstadt wherever I stop running around. That's great. I don't know if I answered you, Beep, but I'm doing alright. It's fucking hot today though, holy fucking shit. I'm hating it. I'm hating my life right now. Hi, Jargon! How are you? How's your day going? I guess your day's almost over at this point. It's hot, but also we didn't have electricity for like 2 hours, so we were just laying in bed watching YouTube shorts or something? I don't know. Oh, yeah, 3 more hours because you finish at 12, not 11. Fuck. Okay. Okay, so what? Now I just... No, that is not what I wanted to do. Okay, fine. I done goofed. Release me from this hellscape. Abandon! Release me. Okay. Is it the other one in a different location? I've heard that it's puss hot. I don't know about other parts of... Because, like, where I am, it's hot and dry. And every time it rains, I'm like, fuck, why is it raining so much? And now that the rain's gone, I'm like, fuck, why is it so dry? It's like, why can't it just be a comfortable in-between? Why has it got to be one or the other? Is this one in the ocean? You jest. Surely not. Surely not. Ah, okay. Close. Okay. Yeah, I might just stay with this one. I don't know, man. That seems good. Seems okay. Them's a lot of balloons. Where the fuck is it making me start? Oh, man. I mean, it's not like this is a hard event, right? There's none up there. Okay, we're good. Release me. I don't want to drop too much. Just in case there's, like, higher stuff that I need to get. Because there's a lot of shit by the looks of it. Okay, okay. This is... Whoa! Sheesh! That made me poop myself! Oh my god. Ah! Hi, Peanuts. 7 months? Thank you! Thank you so much, Peanut, for the 7-month subby. How are you doing? I hope load shedding's being kind to you. Okay. What do you mean they've been marked? Oh my god, there's more this side. That's why I didn't see them. But there's more this way? Oh! My life is a lie. But wait, there was more. Oh my gosh. Didn't I say this was gonna be easy? I done goofed, guys. Oh, no! Oh. No, no, no! Oh my gosh. Scuffed! Scuffed! Okay, let's try again. Oh my goodness. It's been weirdly warm. Alright. It's like hot and cold. And like I can't keep up with the weather. Like, am I wearing sweatpants or am I wearing booty shorts? I can't pick because I cannot prepare myself. Because any day it could change in the middle of the day and suddenly become freezing. So, yeah. Anyway, we're starting that side this time. Because we can. So what happened was, I had an issue with falling once again. Struggling to fall, if that makes sense. That's what I was struggling to do. I was struggling to fall. Instead of falling, I was just panic jumping all over the place because I had like 15 seconds. If I had not panicked, I would have been fine. But you know, we is all about the panic here. If it's not sound alerts, it's my own shadow, so there's no winning. It's okay. It's fine. It's my brand. My brand is just panic, apparently. Zipper booty shorts? Don't you mean like stripper booty shorts? Because then you can just like whip them off like really fast. You know those ones that they just got Velcro, so you just yoink them off when it gets too hot? Or are we not being that dramatic with our pants removal? Okay. I need to get higher. How do I get higher? I need the one on the dragon's head. Wind tunnels, please. There we go. You see, when you don't panic, it's easy. Done. There we go. No panic, just do. I guess that depends on you. I think everyone should always be that dramatic with pants removal. I mean, it could definitely make things a lot more fun, a lot more interesting. Might give some people a heart attack? Maybe not such a good thing? Nice, okay, well that's done. And it is now 9 o'clock. Therefore, that means we can start with boss kill. Is Meow Meow on? Meow Meow Meow. Can I join? Okay, Meow Meow says yes. Mauchi. Huh? Friend is already in a co-op game? Are you in your teapot, sir? What? I just gave myself a fright because my coaster fell on top. Like, it was stuck to the bottom of my cup and then it fell on me. That's great. Moose is there? I should be able to join, though. Are you guys in anything? Am I in anything? Huh? Was it because I was doing the event? I hate that it just says friend is in co-op. Like, was I in co-op? I'm so confused. What was that? Was it me? Was I in co-op? I don't know why. Ronaldo just moved to a new, not good football team because no one wants him in EU anymore. But he will get paid 500 million euro. Okay. And that's a good thing? A bad thing? Question mark? Good for money, but not good for you. Wait, why is it not good for you? You're not gonna see him in the Champions League? I think you'll be okay. I'm standing in the fox pantsu. You grew up watching him and Messi playing? Forgreiden and Signora. Okay. And they're both getting older? I mean, you still got to see him do his thing, right? So it's not the worst thing. You got to see him doing his thing. Time for him to move on. So why did he leave the other team? I don't know how this shit works. Did he have to leave? Was he told to leave? Did they get tired of him and they sold him to someone else? How does this work? Okay. Scaramucci. I can bring Diona. Someone's making weird grunt. Oh, everyone's speaking at the same time. Ah! I thought it was competition. His son died. Everyone started blaming him for not playing. What? What the heck, man? Okay, Moose has got the look. What? Mao. Imagine doing damage. He's expensive. So it's a matter of pride then. He didn't want to get paid less, so he was like, fuck y'all. Yoisha! Mao! Stinky as the Stinky Forg. Whoa, where did that hit, Diana? Ow. Itai indeed, girly. Where's Mao gone? Get into Heelys. Okay. Woo, you guys are brave staying there. Moose has got critical health. I need to get in there, get shields and Heelys down. Ah, can't see. I done goofed on my shields there. Oh no! Sorry, Moose. Oh, I don't have heal for a bit now. And heals. Miles? Where's Mal? Oh, there's Mal. We're good. Oh! Oh! I don't have my food equipped. Ooh! Random bullshit go! Ha! Stinky ass Daha! Nice! Gosh. Ah, Dragon, you should have joined. I don't know. I have C6 either way, so I don't really know. Does she actually have reduced charge? I was just doing it to apply cryo so we could get melts on him. Sorry guys, I didn't mute. I was just fighting. I was trying to fight the sneeze. I should have just muted. Sorry about that. That was so intense. It is. It's unnecessarily intense because really he's just a big stone frog. And he's grumpy for no reason other than he can be. Okay. Oh. Jargon, if you want, join. Get in here. We'll do big boy runs afterwards. Also, Beeb, when are you playing this game? Thank you for the blessings as well. Just funny. Because it's never used. Yeah, I think if you're playing on-field Diona, you would need it. But since I almost never use Diona these days, I didn't even know. And when I used her in the past, she was never on field. Because that's just not how she works. I have a request. Listen, Beeb. Do you wanna lose all your free time and sanity? Oh, have you started playing? Have you started playing? Mal, can I get a re-invite, please? Because I fucked it. Or have you already lost your time and your sanity and you don't have any to spare for Genshin? Because that I can understand. Do you do reviews? I do not. Totally, Kaya. Sorry. Okay, I bring a Nana. Itty bitty Nana. Yeah, Mao bring Mama. At least this one is free. Exactly, Beeb. This game is free. It's free to play. Free to pay as well. You are welcome to spend money on it, but you are free to play this game. And it is free to play this game. You know? You'll be fine. It's a great game and it's free. It's free monies but no free time. Ah! Why? Because you're playing all the games. You're playing all the games that cost money. You know, I can understand that. Look at this. This is an unholy clusterfuck, Beeb. You don't want to be a part of this? This mess? This hot mess? Look at that. Disgusting. Okay, everybody pick a corner and fuck off to it. Go. Don't stand. You don't want no buddies. Go stand by your own corner. If you see the bug, you grab it and go hit the thing. Them's the rules. Because otherwise people just run around in circles. Why did that take so long? That was weird. Whoop, 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 whoop. Eat my ass, Senora. What the fuck, girlie? Calm down. I like how Moose hasn't had any in their corner yet. Okay, I spoke too soon. Moose just casually teleporting around there. I don't know. Is their connection okay? Did I not? Is it me? Am I the problem? Woo! Heals, please. Coco-chan. Before my ass is grass. Is it my connection? Am I the problem? Fuck this bitch. Can you stand still for like a hot second? Little fuck. Oh, she's still going? Ah, so close. Pro tip, if you go to the Kokomi, she might heal you. I say might because I don't know what her cooldowns are. Got her! This bitch! Mamau! We were so close to doing it before she did the whirly swirlies of doom. So you see, Beeb, that fight wasn't intense. Not on the same level as that other boss. Not even remotely on the same level as that other boss. That little rock frog is just dramatic for no reason at all. I mean, she was very drama, but not on the same scale as the frog. He's just unnecessarily drama. As does an actual asshole. He's the asshole of the earth, yeah. Pretty much. Oh, what am I doing? I don't need to teleport there, but I'm gonna. Zhongli, the milkman. I missed a follow earlier, apparently. Zhongli, the milkman. Oh, man. You hate Sonora? Yeah, she's one of the worst, honestly. We can do the same comp here if everyone's fine with that. That frog was a dramatic bitch. Very much so. I like how everyone just has Yaik selected there. The girly. He's just like, he's so extra. He's not hard to fight. But he is very extra for no reason. The Biachdacity? Biachdacity? Yeah, he's got that. Let's go! Woof! This girly, on the other hand, she's spicy as hell. Wah! Did we get it? Gotta cast that shit while I can, because otherwise she's gonna take it away from me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Girlie, relax, please. god. Oh man. Let's go, let's go. Get her. For a second I thought we were gonna defeat her while she still had her shield up. This bitch! Oh, I thought she was gonna fucking do hacks there. Make me endure fucking electro waves. But cool. Your Zoidberg sound- I was making Zoidberg sounds? What did those sound like? Oh wait, how are you gonna tell me? Never mind, don't mind me. Was I making sounds? Am I a lobster man? Yeah, Raiden is shit. Raiden and Sonero, both of them are shit. Sorted. Whoop 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 whoop. Whoop 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 whoop. Like that? That's my panic, you know, like clenching all the muscles in my body, including my butthole, kind of panic. You consume my totems! You stanky bitch! Unbelievable. Imagine consuming someone else's totems. Doing domains by myself is therapy? Oh my god. Why? Because you hate yourself? Your totems are prettier anyway? They are. Too bad I can destroy them.
Hello, motherfucker.
Hello, motherfucker. What's poppin'? Don't mind me, just watching. I hope you're doing alright, daddy. What are we doing? What is this one?
餌を求めて雪の中に飛び込むことがままある。ん？わらわがそうしているところを見たい。じゃと？たわけ。
Ayato. We make, you know, like a sizzle. Oh! Look at my Ayato. Wait. Why has he got no health? That's not even Mans was resurrected health. That is literally Mans was on the brink of death. Mans basically died for some reason. God damn. Poor Boba Man. I don't know what I was doing to Boba Man that he had no health like that, but that was fucking hilarious. Man's got all the boba in the world, but he don't got health. Ooh. Oop. Did not skip that one.
Daddy underscore screamed out deaf guy comments 2 times.
What? Hit yo. Why am I the one getting slammer lammer ding dang for some reason? They're just like, ah yes, Ayato, fuck you. To be fair, why did I bring Ayato? I thought I'd be getting more vapes off. No, stop! He's literally like following me around. What an asshole. That's fine. This is fine. Whoops! I'm just gonna be a problem for everyone. How much have you had to drink today? You mean like water? Admittedly, not a lot. What have I had today? Probably like 2 cups of coffee and... I know I had a sip of Sprite earlier, and I'm currently drinking water. So like half a glass. Ah! I was about to take a sip!
Would you like a couple more?
Could you look thirsty as fuck right now, do I? You can tell? Fuck that guy. Especially. I lost all my... I had loads of energy stored up. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this in the next thing. And then I jumped off the thing and lost all my energy. So that was cool. Yeah, vape his bitch ass. Vape Naish. Get out of here. Stinky hilly chill. Get him. Get them vapes, boy. Yee boy. Oh, I'm so glad I popped my skill there. Yes, Beeb. 2 bottles of wine. I don't drink wine, so please be serious for a moment. I don't drink wine. Hi, Yaku. I am drinking water though, Beeb. I promise. I don't know if you can hear, but my face is currently in a cup. Chasing me is definitely best case. Oh, yeah. But I mean, to be fair, my Ayato's got quite a big health pool. Ooh, that's a pretty light. He's got a pretty big health pool, so he's kind of okay. But, yeah, it's just weird. I get stuck in other people's cutscenes. I draw aggro for some reason. I don't know how aggro is determined in this game, if there is even a way that it is determined. But, you know, it'd be like that. Also, Beeb, if you ever do think of playing Genshin and you have any questions, just message me. I will help you. I might not always have the answer, but I can find it. Look at these 2 beautiful rich bitches over here. Their eyes match their hair. Look at their fancy clothes. Oh, he's not attacking me? Okay, I spoke too soon. Man's turned around for no reason. Hey, stop it! Oh wait, he's chasing Diluc this time. Yes! I need to make sure Diluc stays away from me then. No offense, Moose. No, why is he looking at me? No, 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 no. Go look. Here's Diluc. Come get him. Did you see his body whip? I don't know what he was doing, but it was funny. Look at them vapes, boy! I don't know if they're big. I don't care if they're big. They're just there. Vape Nation and all, you know. Whee! If you don't have to run, that's ideal. I mean, yeah, fair. I wish that they did have something like that where HP, but I guess when you play single player, then what would the AI target? Like, would it just ignore your other characters? Yeah, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe it just randomly picks someone who's wailing on the creature at the time and it's like, ah yes, I will aggro on you. Because you are simply in front of me, you are there. Deadass, you've already been marked as Genshin Guru. Oh, shit! I'll take that. Gurus don't know everything, but they have the capacity to learn. They have the desire to learn. So, I'll take that. That's a good thing. But it's funny that you say that. That specific phrase. Oh! Nope. There's a bit. Stop! Yamete kura stop. What? Rude. What? Stop. What a douche canoe, this one. Well and truly. I run here every time, knowing full well that I'm not going to be claiming, but you know. Look at these pink babies. It's the pink babies and the boyfriends. The rich boyfriends. They're holding hands. There we go. I'm gonna need more water soon. Ray got more energy juice. He got G Fuel this time. And so he needs help finishing off the last of the other one. But it's like mango, and I absolutely detest mango. It tastes so bad! Mango tastes bad on a good day. Today is not a good day. Please let's not make this too lewd. Oh! Please don't ever join any of the insert Genshin Impact character's name mains subreddits, because goddamn, Ganyu mains? Yai Miko mains? Woof! Woo! That's what I'm gonna say. And I didn't say anything. The noise was simply enough to understand. That was funny. Where'd the little guy go? Did we get him? Oh no, he's still got shield up. Rest in pieces. Rest in peepos. Ooh, baby! Them vapes. Vape Nation and all. Whee! You're just here for the character builds? Oh no! Yeah, listen. And it's not all of the Genshin Impact mains thingies. I know for some of them they've like split off and they have like a not safe for work one because it was getting out of hand. For some of them, like apparently Venti's is one of the most looted Genshin Impact. Oh, are we done? We're done. Genshin Impact characters. I can't tell you why. Maybe it's just because he was the first character banner or something. Can't think of any other reason why. But yeah, so
わがそうしているところを見たいじゃとたわけ
Also, Bubble, are you joining for kills tonight? Are you down to crown? Oh my god, I can't spell. Smoke bomb! Oh shit. Smoke bomb! Or did I have to write it in chat for it to count? You can't join? Okay, perfect. I just want to check something. So that's gonna stay on a... Okay, let's see. I just wanted to check. Oh, what did I do? I did something weird. It's fine. Oh! I'm on a ship! I don't know how many people are around. I know Jargon's definitely here. Jargon, do you need more skills? Wow! Lucky! Damn, Boba! Too bad I already did my dailies, but it's okay. Yes. We don't do frog. We don't do frog in this house. We do sassy lady number 1 and 2 and their child. Let's start with the Fatui sassy lady. Oh, I guess she didn't really like... She didn't really like Scaramucci, so I don't know if... Oh wait, this is the wrong one. I don't know if we can call Senora one of his moms. Just go teleport to the Papa Boss real quick. I somehow managed to get like almost like a graze kind of cut between my fingers, and I don't know what I did. I honestly have no idea. I am so confused about what I did to myself. Okay, so I just want to see. I know Yoda's currently streaming. And I don't know who the rest of these people are. So yeah, I'm not gonna bug Yoda. I know he's streaming. You constantly have cat injuries without owning a cat. It's a skill. Not a useful one, but it's a skill that I have. I currently am healing a burn on one hand. Which obviously wouldn't come from a cat, right? But the other one's like, I have a scratch. Anyway, whoa! We got a Nilo. Are we going for... Nana? Are we going for... Big Boom? Should I bring my cookie? I bring Cookie-chan? Dragon bring Yae? If he wants to, I don't know. I never know what to bring. A vindictive cat maybe? Oh yeah. Okay, let's see who gets stuck in the cutscene. Not me. Stuck in a cutscene? Could not be me. Could not be me. Was it Bubble? Okay. Pick a corner. Sometimes it feels like it takes a long time for the like melt effects to actually go through. Let's go! Where is everyone? Oh, there we go. Like trying to stand close to everyone so everyone can get healies, but... Okay, I think this range is good. Whoa! I wasn't even watching! How did she die so fast? What the fuck? That was good, man. That was some good shit. Ta-ta-ta. Sis! Okay. Now this bitch. To line the witch in the audacity of this bitch. We can go same comp, I think, for this one. Ow, why did that hurt me? Was it just the water? It is the water. Not Jargon trying to murder us while we're loading in. What is it? Cookie-chan and Nana? Bunk. I want this one. You going to support this time? Are you sure? Okay. I need her health to be a little bit higher this time. Unbelievable. Oh, well, I guess it was that one. This bitch! Oh! She's spicy mama now. Woo! I was trying to cast my burst and I was like, why can I not? This bitch stole my... Whoa! Wait, what? Wait, what happened? Huh? I didn't... Sorry, guys. I didn't see what happened. Hmm? My brain. Did we get hit by something? Did I die? And I just didn't notice somehow? The character design in this game is so cute. It is! Fuck, man. I love the characters in this game. They're stunning. That's why I cosplay Cookie-chan. Because I love her. But also, she's just very cool. You want to bring Coco? In that case, I'll bring Big Mama to her own fight. She's kind of shitty, but it's okay. That was the typical response. What do you mean, tainted demon wolf? I don't know where this bitch is. Did I even hit her? I don't know. Does it matter? No. What? Osoy? My ass. Where the fuck is the thing? Did y'all destroy it? Oh, nope. Well... Okay. Cool. Cool. This is fine. What? Whoops. Did she really move as I did that? I'm so glad. She she moved again. You don't know? I mean, I guess. I have nothing to say then. Man, I keep forgetting my ER is insane. I brought her wholly as a support character, nothing else. She got that ER for days and nothing else. More dream solvent, as if I don't have enough already. The boy. It's the boy. Oh yeah, I wanted to use one of these boys. Because it's got 4 days left, and the last time I forgot to use one of those, it got to like 11 hours, and I was like, whoops! So I had to use it quickly. I mean... Don't you bring a healer? We good? I think we good. All the debit orders? Hi, Potato! I look beautiful today, thanks. But how do you know? Ba, 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 ba. Son, you've been naughty. Wah! Whoa! My tiny peepee riding. Beep 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 beep. Chotto matte kudasai. Whoop, 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 whoop. Wait, why did that not? Do make electro, make electro. Nope. Okay, cool. So glad. So glad that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Where's this little dingaling now? Whoa! Yeah. Keep doing your thing, boo-boo. Why? That is not the way, sir. I'll have you know. You can't just step on your mother. I mean, you can, but you probably shouldn't. Just saying. What? Is that on me? Yeah, come this way. No, it's not on me. Okay. Hi, hi. Potato, I'm doing good. How are you? Bunk, bunk, bunk. Hee hee. Get him! Get him! Where am I? Your mama whipped your ass, boy. Scaramucci is such a bad son. He is. Almost said hi potato to my boss. How would you have explained that? Why didn't know the dream solvent? Please, give me peace. How the heck is anyone supposed to have savings when your bank just hands it over to other companies when they ask for it? Ah, man. But you have stuff in exchange for that money, so I guess you have to pick. Do you want money or do you want stuff? That's kind of how the world works. Sometimes you can't have stuff or money, though. Because that's also how that works sometimes. I should have done it. I mean, that does sound like a bad idea, to be fair. I don't know if I would tell people to do that. Call me crazy. Okay. Why is it so fucking hot? My window's even open, and I'm still sweating my balls over here. I too have neither stuff nor money. Mood. Sometimes it isn't even stuff, like life insurance. You give them money in case you die, then other people get your money. I mean, it's people you care about. That's why you have it, right? Because it's people you wouldn't want to struggle without you. That's why you got it. So it's not other people, it's people you chose to get your money. Surely. Okay, well, I'm done with my Genshin stuff, so that's end of stream. Bye, guys. Imagine. I have fuck all else to do. And by that I mean, I have nothing I want to do. But it's fine, I will find something. What? Don't put the raid message. People are gonna think I'm actually ending. Are you getting salad boy? Eh? Who's that? You mean Ham Ham? Are you talking about the Ham himself? The Ham, the myth, the legend? No, I am not. I'm doing a big old skipperoonies until my girly Shenhe comes out, because I don't want nobody else but her. I've been waiting. It's been a year. It's been 84 years. I need my girl. If that answers your question. Or if that's who Salad Boy is. Then no. I am not getting Salad Boy. I wanted to check. I've already done my dailies. Let's see. I have these stinky things to do. Our conquest. Hey. I think I've been avoiding doing that just so I can do literally anything else. Why is this on 98%? Are we being for realsies now? Oh yeah. I wanna- oh! What's this? Oh, that's the new domain. I just haven't unlocked. Let me go unlock it quick. I don't know how to get there, but I'm gonna just yoink it that way. Yeah, I'm not rolling until Shenhe's banner. So whenever she comes out. And then, And then, like, the banner straight after that is Baiju. I hope I can get him. I don't have much savings, so I need to win at least one 50-50. Winning two 50-50s with Ito certainly helped. Helped the savings. But yes. I want my girly and I want my boy, and that's it. That's all I'm thinking about for now. I'll get the free Yao Yao from the event. Hey, where is this bitch? Down? More down? Downer than this? Is it in... Oh, it's in the ground. How do I have 2% left? How did I do the desert before I did the forest? I hate these underground shits. Yay! 5 whole primos. Nice. Alright. Do I come here and make myself cry or what? Why did I mark this? Aranara, still in the forest too. Ugh, pain. You gonna lurky lurks? No worries, beeps. I love you. Have a good evening. Go stretchy your legs. Go grab a drink. Get comfy. Go do your thing, girl. Okay, so... Enjoy, Demon Wolf. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so it's not near here. I have a feeling it's underground somewhere. There's nothing here. Nothing here. This is not a good way of doing it, but it's the way I'm gonna do it for now. Nothing here. Because this desert is fucking huge, man. It is massive. Have you done the Golden Rose Seeds quest? I do not know what that is. So the answer is probably no. I just know that there was a sealed door somewhere and I don't remember if I unsealed it. Oh! It's this one again. This is the one that I haven't opened yet. I hate it here. Is this bitch at the bottom here? If you know how to open this one, then we can talk. Because I think this is the last thing that I need to do. And that's my 2%. It's down. It's down here. So I think I've gone down here before. Open sesame. I think that's why I had that other hole marked, because I went down there before to get down. But it didn't help. I don't remember. But yeah, it's definitely behind that door. Let me just Google Fu quick.
何か悩み事一緒に考えてあげるわ。 ぱり自
what
分
is
の
this
目で
one?
見てこそ世界の美しさを感じられる。
I don't know if this is the... correct one. Oh, it looks like it's the correct one. Weh, this looks lengthy as all hell. Okay. I opened a video, but it's long as hell, man. Well, actually it's not long, but it does seem rather convoluted. Very spinny. Oh, speaking of spinny, one of the balls of my piercings just started like coming off and I was like, ah! Panic. Okay, we start here and we go this way. I hate when people do these things, but then they, like, they speed it up. And I'm like, how am I supposed to follow if you're speeding it up? Should this not be like a watch-along kind of video? I just hope that this is actually taking me to the right place. Because that would suck otherwise. A video. Oh my god. Why don't we just call it that? I guess we just call it a vid these days. Anyway. And that's not the way I wanted to go, but it's okay. I think I'm roughly going in this direction. Oh yeah, we walk past the mummy. The dummy mummy. And try not to get to her attention. Because she's just a pain in the ass. Whoop. Who needs vowels? Apparently not us. I mean, technically it was a vowel. Ooh. This is pretty. I'm guessing this is the place that I haven't been, somehow. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video because there's stuff I haven't done here, so this is probably the culprit of my 2%, seeing as there is not only the pupukakas down there, but also a cilantro leaf. So I'm just gonna grab that quick. I'm still in co-op. Boy! Oh man, that mango flavored juice that I had was really nasty. With a capital nya. What team are we gonna go? Spicy cookies? Yeah, fuck it, why not? I've been, I guess in a way preemptively building my Kazuha. And technically my Shinha as well. At the moment, I've got a weapon for her. But after recent events, I have a different weapon for her. Thank you, Timo! Thank you, thank you. I hope your stream is going well. Let's see. And then this is the stuff that I have for her so far. Give her your engulfing lightning. You know, I've been considering it. But I'll see. It depends on what I'm using when and who I'm using when. Because I think my Shinha is currently more built. It's her second best in slot, I know, but this is her actual best in slot, so... It looks cool on her as well. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Depends on if I end up using Raiden. Alright, so yeah, I got Echo set and Glad set for the girly, and her stats are... They're okay. I don't remember exactly. I think I was just building her for attack, but it doesn't look so great currently. I think this is a big part of the problem. Be a level 1 weapon. It's not helping the situation. But yeah, she's gonna be built for attack. Because that's how you build her, question mark. And then I was also building... Who was I putting it on? Was I putting it on her? Yeah. This is for Kazoo. So far we've got that. And we've got a flower. 2 of the easier pieces to build. So a bit of ER, a bit of EM. And then I think we kind of stopped... We haven't done VV stuff in a while. Don't have any other pieces that would work for him. Yeah. Base attack is a big deal. Yeah. That's why I switched it to 5-star weapon. Because more base attack. But yeah, I just have to wait for her to come out now, and I think she's gonna be a while. Alright, let's see what's happening down here. A little bit annoying, because I don't have a bow character in that team. But I have one here, so we'll do this one instead. What the? You bastard. The bitch. Unbelievable. It's gonna hit. Did it worked? Yeah. All of these things just hitting me. Where's this last one? Boom. Huh? Whoa! Hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chillin' with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chillin' with the homies. Welcome, homies! Bow, 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 chicken and macaroni, chillin' with the homies. Welcome, welcome, DG. Welcome, Raiders. Hi, Purple Fairy. Guys, if you see at the top of the chat right now, if that heart is not green, go make it green. Go give love to Digi. How are you doing, cutie? How was your stream? You're playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Shit. If you guys like super nostalgic, like, you know, 90s kids things, Digi plays a lot of those kinds of games. She plays Digimon. She plays Final Fantasy. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh as well. There was something else that you played. I'm trying to think now. But yes, when I think of DG streams, always the nostalgic games. How was your stream, DG? And thank you, Jargon, for those shouty outies. For those of you that are new here, welcome, welcome. My name's Tato. I play a lot of Genshin Impact, which is what I'm currently playing now. Oh my god! Chicken and macaroni, chillin' with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Chicken and macaroni, chillin' with the homies. Chicken wing. Hey, chicken and... Whoa. Chillin' with the homies. Welcome, welcome. Snowball Ninja. Thank you for the raid. We just had a raid, so my brain was just like still buffering from the last one. But welcome, Raiders. How was your stream? What were you up to? Horizon Zero Dawn? Oh shit! Are you enjoying it? Is it good? Middle Earth Rose, welcome, welcome. Hi, Oxy! Hello, hello! Welcome, welcome, peoples. Brain buffer, the most brain buffer. It was just not working. I'd already expended the allotted energy for that minute. It's your first playthrough? Oh man, I've heard so many amazing things about that game. I haven't tried it myself, but like just watching other people play, that's been really, really good. But yeah, glad to hear that you're enjoying it. It is a stunning game. It is really beautiful. Do you ever struggle with the open world aspect of it? Because I know I do. The moment something is open world, I just like this game. There's so many things to get distracted by. So many things. You embrace. Me, I just struggle. I just struggle. Because I just never get anything done. I'm like, oh, a shiny thing. Like now I stopped to do a shiny thing. But I was on a mission. I was on my way somewhere. And then I got the big distractee. So, yeah. I don't remember where I'm supposed to go now. But anyway. You require sustenance? Of course, of course. Go stretch your legs. Go get a drink. Go get a snack. Go do whatever you need to do. No worries. Thank you again so much for the raid, Ninja. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. But yes, welcome to all the raiders. Thank you guys for coming through. I hope you enjoy your stay. And if you have any questions about this game, please shout. I am happy to convert you to the Church of Genshin, if that's what you want. And then again, at the top there, if the heart is not green, go make it green. Just like we did for Digi. Go make it green for Ninja as well. Wholesome South African beans. Alright, we need to continue on our merry way, because we were on the way somewhere before we got the big distractee. Okay. Where am I going? We are going up a pathway that has a torch. Which way did we come in? I have no idea. Did we come this way? No. I think we came... Yes, we came this way. We need to go, I think, this way. There we go. There's the path with the torch. Okay. I think we're good. Did I not run past this just now? Okay, let's not talk about that. This is fine. I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm not lost. This is supposedly the right direction. The fact that I got 1% in here is already a good... Look at that! Blessed. Absolutely blessed. Look at this shit. There's even a fucking Sealy down here, bro. Fix your ass, bro. Goddamn. Okay, there's a chest there. Christ alive. Why am I like this? How did I just keep missing that, though? That's what I want to know. Need to build your cookie. Oh, yeah. Fuck. I love Cookie Man. Not that this is new for anyone here, but you know. Oh? Order? I will have order? Do we go highest to lowest? Do we go lowest to highest? Or is there something else? Is it the pots on the ground, perhaps? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hey? Did I miss it? Let's try again. Did I do it this time? Did I? There we go. Okay. What the f— There we go. Nope, that was not it. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was the pots, though. There's 1. There's a 2. There's 3. Oh, there's a tablet there. I probably don't need this, but I'm gonna grab it anyway. Nice. So, if that's not the order... Oh, wait, the thing's on now? Was it on before? How do this boy unlock? Is the Sealy up here somewhere? That has to be the order? I mean, I thought so. Is it not on? Am I cray-cray? Did I take too long? Because I kept scuffing this one? That's 3, right? Because this one's 3. I just did it in the wrong order? Ah, I did it in the wrong order. Yeah, I don't know what I did there, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Where is the Sealy? Why he say up? Up where? I got there in the end, which is the part that matters. No! Also, Amber is definitely using her proper bow. I don't have a bow more suitable for her, so this is the intended bow to use on Amber. This is currently her most suitable bow in my arsenal. Oh yeah? Oh yeah, there's friends here! Let me get the better 4-star. Danny! No, lots of love and hugs and good vibes to you, girl. How are you doing? How is, whoop, whoop, whoop. How is this year treating you so far? You been up to anything? Besides the obvious. Oh, another tablet that I don't need. I wonder if maybe I do need it for something. Whee. Now... Oh man, still not? Call me crazy. Oh right, there's still the Sealy to do. Call me crazy, but... this was a lot of shit to fucking miss. Simply because I could not see that there was stuff underground. Did you roll for Raiden's weapon? I don't know what you're talking about, Bobo. I don't know what you're saying, sir. I don't understand the words that you type in. Imagine. What? Why are you linking a weapon banner? You literally watched me roll for, in fact, funded. No, he does weapon, so... Don't you be linking that like you're innocent party here. Surely this one is it. Hey boy! Okay, the desert is done until they release the new patch with the new shit. Weapon banner is undeniably a scam though. You doing okay? Just trying hard to sort stuff out. Has some obstacles get in the way and get me down. Ah, you're trying your best to get past it? Good, good. Don't give up. Keep going. Nahida was special? Oh, I see where this is now. Oh my god. That's like right at the bottom. This little pit. Huh. Interesting. And this guy all by himself? What's cracking, buddy? Whoa! Whoa! Man did not stand a single chance. What? Why was he here though? They left him here just by himself to do his own thing? How weird. What is this? Why is this here? So I came from that direction, right? What's up? Is this gonna take me to unlock the door? I thought I knew you. I thought I knew me too. Boop. But I gave in. Ray was like, hey, don't you want her weapon? And I was like, ah. It's a really good weapon for Shenna though. Since I'm not gonna get her niche weapon. There we go. She is done. Now I can say, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that, and fuck that also. I don't need to come back here, but I do need to go finish this shit. Damn it. Have to go find all the fucking, all the root vegetables. Oi, oi, oi. Do I just quit here and call it a night? But yes, I do have Raiden's weapon. I got a second this bad boy, which I haven't leveled yet. So I'll do that at some point. And I don't know who I'm gonna give that to. It's a pretty good weapon though. I could probably give Zhao his actual weapon. I would need to rebuild him though, because his build kind of relies on this. So yeah, I would just need to level this weapon and then maybe change his gear. I don't know. I think the build that I have on Zhao is still decent. What has he got? 2-piece Vivi, 2-piece Glads. I think that's pretty standard for Zhao. But I would need to shuffle his stuff around. Because his weapon gives crit, right? If I just switch with his dad quick. Yeah. I would want to get more crit damage. Because if I'm not mistaken, he's kind of lacking on some stats. Oh, actually, his stats aren't terrible, but they could be a lot better. Whoa, definitely this piece. Lol. Do I have any other VV flowers? I honestly haven't been looking for damage characters for a while, because I've just been farming for... Oh, that could be good. If it rolls another crit. If it rolls another crit. Whoa! Thank you for the head pats, Yaku. Yeah, all these, if it rolled another crit ones, could be really good for him, because this has just got crit rate at the moment. But yeah. I could do better. Oof. I've been clearing out my artifacts recently because I've been farming for Raiden. But also before that I was doing Kazuha, and then what else was I doing? Oh, Yae Miko and Nahida. Oh, and I finally got a good piece on Ito as well. So his crit damage is up. It was his Sans. So compared to his last one, this is really good. And I think his crit rate is okay, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with him. Farming Vivi is annoying since Maidens is basically power crept. Yeah, I just do the boxes now actually. Because I personally wouldn't use it for anything. Droips. What's this? Oh, right. So yeah, I would just smoosh it. This is a reminder. If you have not done your parametric transformer, go do it now. If you teleport, where is it? If you teleport over here and jump into the ravine, there's a rock like right there that'll supercharge it for you. If you're lazy like me and you don't want to attack it. 2 pieces of the new set. I'll be honest, I only just unlocked it just now. I have no idea what it is, what it does. Is it this one? No. This one? Isn't this the same as Vivi though? I have no idea who uses these new pieces, these new sets. Farming it makes more sense. Yeah, I don't even know who uses these though. This is like 100% for Scaramucci though, definitely. But I don't know who I would use these on. I haven't heard anything about people using these two sets. Besides that this is for Scaramucci. Oh, this is for attack speed. But requires charged hit every 15 seconds. That's actually not too bad for Zhao, but I don't think you'd use 4-piece on him anyway. So yeah, I think because I'm doing the lockbox, so I'm doing the lockbox for VV pieces for Jean anyway. And she uses crit. Hey, Yaku. She uses crit rate, crit damage. I'm not doing an EM build on her, I don't think, because I have so many EM animo characters. Not quite happy with the pieces I have for her yet. And I'm using a Copium Gobbo on her because I haven't gotten a decent one for her. But yeah, she's doing crit rate, crit damage. How are you doing, Yaku? Yeah, this is hella Copium. This was like a leftover piece. But I had a hella crit damage, so I was like, thank you! I'll take that. Yeah, I still need to finish up her build at some point. Hello, here lurking. I hope you're having a good evening. True answer or a lie? That's up to you, man. However you want to answer, whatever you're comfortable with telling us. She did not just. Yes, she did. She did. She loves that. It's mom joke now. I love that joke, man. I love when people are like, I'm back, and I'm like, hi, back! And I say it to her son all the time, because he's like, then he just responds by saying, hi, mom. But yes, she needs some love. So I'm doing VV for the VV box for Jean. I'm doing the VV box for Scaramucci. No. Kazuha. No Scaramucci here. And then, yeah, I guess I should look for Zhao as well. Thing is, like, I don't really play him anymore. You get owned, motherfucker. No Nahida slander here. No Dendro Nation slander here. Unless it's Al Haitam. You can slander him all you want. Him's a hoe. You can slander him all you want, but not my Nana. Oh no. Not Nahida. Goodbye. You are a classic case of fuck around and find out, aren't you, Guria? Just a classic case of all the fucking around and finding out a lot of things. Finding all the ways to get timed out on my channel. What's wrong with that? Not you as well, Guria, please. That man is about as interesting as a piece of cardboard currently. I don't know if they're gonna add some story for him or something, but like... Man's is as bland as a piece of bread. Plain white bread. No butter, no nothing. You tell him, Nahida. Bubba, why are you throwing things in my face? Anyway, he's like the only Dendro character I've so far not been excited for. Oh my god. Man's not hot. Man, people be thirsting over him like he is. Also, Guria is just doing the most to irritate Joggin. Apparently. She's currently, if I'm not mistaken, if she's not been overtaken actually by the current banner, Nahida is the highest grossing banner in Genshin. You return to violence. Listen, Guria chose violence. Ninja. It wasn't me. It wasn't Jargon. It was Guria. Guria chose violence. He's here to stir the pot and then leave. It's fine. We're used to his shenanigans. Alright. Oh, Guria equals violence? Yeah. He wakes up and decides what shit he's gonna stir on any particular day. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. You take after your father, you make an entrance, and then exit right away. Well, we're waiting! We're waiting, Guria. No, I'm joking. Was that mean? Was that too mean? You said it. I was just, you know... Guria also waiting. Oh, shit! Man's not hot. Man's not hot at all. But man's just got burned. Shit, fam. I want to say sorry, but I also don't want to lie. Give me treasure, please. I don't know where I'm missing treasure, actually, to be fair. It would be somewhere in here. But where? And how far does this area extend to? Because I'm missing shit here as well. I wonder if there's anything by the port. Let me go have a look there. You won't hate on Nahida anymore? Wait till you get me started on Venti. I don't give a rat's ass about Venti. He's a drunk Archon who very much seems to be stirring a pot at any given point in time. So I don't trust that man. Not even a little bit. What do you have to say against Venti? Speak out against the Animo Archon. Tell us your qualms with him. He knows too much. Venti is ass. I mean... Okay, we got a timeout. Goodbye! No speaking out against the the Animo Archon, apparently. Yaku said no. I put a too long timeout though. I typed the wrong number, so I'll just keep an eye on the time, I guess. This is... Oh! This away? This is like the best soundtrack. This one in particular. Port Ormos? Best. Easy. Easy best. No, come back! I don't blame you for getting all overexcited to time it out. So it was just because I looked at the chat and all the... Oh! Cool. Easiest chest of my life. God damn, that's embarrassing. Hi, Smurf! How are you, Smurf? How's your day going? I hope it's been good. Yeah, anyway, I just looked at the timeouts, and the timeout previously said 10 minutes because that's the standard, you know? And then my brain kind of schmoofed. But anyway. It was only supposed to be 5 minutes. Does I smell a Smurf? Does Smurf have a distinct smell? Is it something he should know about? Why no treasure here? Don't ask me why I had to put a waypoint here. I had to help myself remember where I was going. What is this place? Oh, lighthouse. Have I been here before? How is there no treasures here? That's wild. I wonder if there's something at the top. You smell like piss and excellence? That is an interesting aroma. I don't know if I want to ask how you came about to having that particular scent, but you know. If that's your brand, man. You doing good? Day was pretty neat? Oh, hell yeah. I'm doing good. Can I actually get... I don't think I can get up there. Oh, pfft. Headbutts the rock. Immediately no. Well, I'm guessing there's nothing up there. Can't take pee breaks when you are pushing for excellence. Accidents happen. I mean, yeah. Totally, 100%. Fuck. And that boat out there? Do you guys think there's anything on that boat? Should we go have a look? Is this how we drown? Can I even get there? Is that the end of the map? Oh fuck, it is. I don't think I can go there. That's fine then, I guess. I guess I won't go there. I don't need to go there. There was nothing there for me anyway. Boink. I want to say I doubt that there's something this side, but I always get bamboozled like that. By thinking I've explored an area and then I haven't. So, you know, it's normally the most obvious places that I've missed. It's got to be on the roof, right? Whoop. I still don't get how there wasn't any by that other building. Because that other building was massive and it had nothing on it. Don't mind me just being scuffed at climbing. Why am I on a small character? This is my problem. Wow! Hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Welcome, peoples! Chicken with the homies. Welcome, welcome. English teacher in Korea, addicted to Genshin. Oh, hell yeah, and gotcha. With a terrible sleep schedule. Yeah. Hi, Ella. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Damn, did I see an epic in there? Hello, sir. Hello, hello, and welcome, welcome, raiders. Gosh, that's a lot of peepos. Hey, Peggy. Kudo, can I call you Kudo? And Ella, of course. Ivory, welcome, welcome, and thank you for the follow, Ella. Damn. Can we do the other shouty outy as well? Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Ivory. Alright, let me just there we go. Okay, there we go, guys. At the top of the chat, there's a little shouty outy. If the heart is not already green, go make it green. That's my favorite color. Rie? Lala Lapin, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse as well to Ivory and Ella. How was your stream? What were you up to today? I also have a problem. I used to be an English teacher as well, but now I'm just full-time streaming. Also got a Genshin problem. But I think it's a beautiful problem to have. With all them waifus, why not? Hi Lala. Epic, how are you doing? You both stream Genshin? You both have webcam VTuber streams? I believe you both will vibe together? Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, Epic. How are you doing? Hi, Senjin. Thank you for the lurkies. Yeah. And Epic, how's the moderator for 1 billion channels going? You still surviving? You surviving, friend? I'm currently I just 100%ed the desert because I had 2 of them already done, and then I finished off that one tonight, but I didn't have a lot. And so now I'm like going back to the desert, to the to the forest, and I'm hating my life choices because there's shit in places, and I don't know where them places are. So yeah, best problem to have, Genshin addiction. Much agree there, because it bring the haps, and if you ain't living for the happies, what are you living for, man? But yeah, it's nice to meet you. I think I was looking for the chest just now, and then you guys raided, and then my brain just died. So I was on a mission. You were free of Genshin addiction for a year, but then wonder of becoming playable. so Scaramucci pulled you back in. Yeah, I've seen people stop play. Hey, what the frick, man? Oh man, I've seen people stop playing for a while, and then a character comes out, and they're like, must come back. They pull for the character, they get the character, and then they disappear again. Did you manage to stick around? Where are the usual questions? Whom do you main? What AR? What server are you atop? Or what? Why did I start with top? Ooh. Box? Are those the usual questions, Epic? Whoops. Y'all didn't see that. I play Genshin all the time. I don't drown. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'll go back if they make Scaramouche playable. Mihoyo makes him playable. Ah, shit. Are you still playing though? Did you manage to stick around? Yeah, it's fine. Look, she's fine. She is a-okay. Also, if you guys are interested in cosplay, I actually did cosplay this boo-boo. And I cosplayed this boo-boo as well. So if you want to follow me on any of my socials, I've got the tweeters, I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook if you're a boomer. For that boomer life. You're back in for good? You like the Harbingers? Nice! Yeah, I don't have the Scaramucci. I'm currently saving for whenever Shenhe decides to grace us with her presence. Yeah. Because I have like three like mains. Oh yeah, Epic actually mentioned that earlier. For all the new peoples in chat, who do you main? AR, not so important, but who do you main? You're slowly catching up on the story? Nice! I think the story just seems to be getting better and better for me. But at the same time, I'm feeling worse and worse about what's happening every time. And I'm just like, damn! I don't want to be here! We didn't see anything? Yeah, exactly. We saw nothing. That's why we fell into the water with no stamina. Because we didn't see anything. That's fine. I'm the only boomer who doesn't use Facebook. Wheezes and 29 years old. Listen, Lala, I turned 30 last year. Ah! It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. The only reason that I really... Oh, Guria, I forgot to undo your... I forgot to undo your timeout. I'm sorry. I was gonna say you should have said something, and then I remembered that you wouldn't have been able to say anything. I'm sorry. Whoopsie. That wasn't on purpose. The cookie cosplay was progress. Thank you. What did you think? Have you seen the Yaya cosplay? Epic. Not my usual character to cosplay as mommies, but I tried. Ivory's mains are Raiden and Beidou. You got a thing for them thick thighs electro mommies. We age like wine. We ballin'. We are, Lala. We are. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Guria. I'm sorry. I got toes. Oh. I have a scuffed team with him at the moment. Where is it? Here. I've got what I call reaction soup. It's a whole lot of mess currently because the gene is not well built. The Ayato needs a little bit of work. But yeah. El Haitam main. Yeah? Soon to be. I hope you get the boy. I hope he comes back soon. And I hope he brings a friend with him. I don't know who that friend is, but I hope he brings a friend with him. For you, Ella only. That blessing is for Ella only. No one else. No one else take that blessing, okay? Pants? Pants? You want pants, Guria? Even though he ain't playable? I mean, he's gonna be. You want him to have a gun? Oh, Lord. Wait, why you want him to have a gun? I'm technically a government-assigned Hu Tao main because I use Zhongli's shield on her. I mean, they work together really well. You know, at work, but also, you know, in a team. Because they work together. They're colleagues. Assault rifle? Oh my god. Play machine gun Barbara. Easy. You should try cosplay him? Wait, who? Which one? ASMR, how could you, Epic? How could you do this to me? Please, sir, give me peace! Okay, hold on. Okay, you guys get to hear me whisper enthusiastically for the next 5 minutes. Epic, I hope you're happy with yourself. This is what you've done to everyone else in chat. Feel bad about it, sir. This is on you. Anyway, what was I ranting about? Who is your favorite character? Kudo, mine. Sorry, Ri. Is it Ri? Anyway, my favorite characters. Because I don't have one, right? I have 3. Going on 4. Because I fucking love Naida. But anyway, so. We have to start here. At my freeze team. Because my baby, Ayaka, I love her. She's the best girl. Hime, my princess. Yeah. Juicy stats. Yeah. Yeah. My girlie. My baby. Okay, next one. Best boy. Harataki Ito. The one and only. He's good boy also. He's good boy. Possibly best boy. After Benetto. And then this is a work in progress. Yai Miko. And Nana. Xiao, Wanderer, Sino, and Tanari. Ri, you really like those boys with problems, don't you? Xiao, Wanderer, Sino, and Tanari? Damn. You're there to fix your boys. You just wanna fix them. You wanna help them. They've got problems, man. Clearly, that's your type. You try to fix the broken ones. No judgment, though. I know a lot of people who love those characters. Clearly, you're just there to fix them. It's okay. Guria just trying to get banned again. But yes, my babies. May I borrow your artifacts for research purposes? Yes. Nahida is daughter shaped? Wait, what does that mean? It's not like you could trade artifacts. Yeah, how sad is that? Because sometimes I get really good shit for characters I can't use and I'm just like, bro, why? Anti-look? What? Ah, there's no fixing this one, hey. This one's just broken. There's no fixing that boy. My faves are Zhongli and Harbingers. I can fix them. Well, I can make them worse. No. Lala, no. None of that. You wanted to time out jargon? No, 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 no. You only need 30,000 more points before VIP? God damn, Korea. Hell no. Oh, that's why. Oh. Are you saying. Oh. What? Are you broken, Guria? I can tell. I can tell you're broken. Really likes them trauma. Oh my god. just say you're an anime main. You like a lot. I can tell. If you're halfway to getting, almost out, yeah, basically halfway to getting VIP, you do like a lot. Goddamn, sir. I didn't expect you to. I mean, it was written in the stars. How could I miss it? It was right there for the taking. Especially Scaramucci. No ways. It was in the stars, man. Undeniable. What a surprise. Alright, what was I doing? I was looking for chests, right? Scar should have stayed in the unknown. No, 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 no. He needed his redemption arc. Oh. Freedom! Oh my god, guys, I can't do that. ASMR. It feels like all the shout, all the energy that I'm holding inside when you said that thing, I have to hold it all in. All the energy. Hell nah, man. Increase the cost. That wouldn't be fun though. If people don't ever get to redeem it, if they don't ever get to make me suffer, that wouldn't be fun for people. What? Sorry, Pamon. I have enough points to time me out for 290 minutes. Behave yourself. Your voice is so nice, not to sound weird. Oh no, thank you. I personally don't think so, but I think very few people like the sounds of their own voice, so it's okay. Pleasant to the ear. Not when I whisper or when I shout. You will make it weird. No, Oxy, don't make it weird. No, don't make it weird, Oxy. Arara. No, no, no. I don't do ara. No ara. I ain't no mommy. If you want ara, go to your mommy. I ain't your mama. Ooh, I can do ooh. But they're not ara here. Only scream! We all hate our own voices. So, and I mentioned this last stream as well. That we hear our voices differently to how other people hear it. And that's why... Whoa! Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. Thank you. So I just want to double check. Is it like like the Zoomers do? Or is it like re-eh? Because... I don't know. Brain small, brain smooth, like a koala. Re! No eh. Okay. So we like Zoomers then, we reing. Is it for the Genshin pools? I don't mind doing uwu for free. It means nothing to me. I've never been asked to uwu before, so it's fine. The ASMR made it serious. You're like, Ayaka Besko. And I'm like, Lindsay, no, you're right. She is though! She is! So Ayaka, she's my Hime, my princess. Ito best boy. Everything about Ito, his story, every single voice actor of his is perfect. I scream. And also Ushi's voice actor, which is just the Chinese Ito voice actor. He voices Ushi in all languages. How fucking cool is that? Anyway, his story, his theme song, his personality, just his design is also really cool, but his weapon? Guys, come on. Hello is perfect in every shape, way, and form for him. There's a lot of characters who have like their weapon and it just doesn't fit them at all. One, for example, being Yoimiya, poor girlie. She's pyro character, got a fucking electro bow. Where is it? I have it on Amber. Wait. This is supposed to go on a freaking pyro character? You joking? Anyway, breathe. Breathe. You're humbly requesting one ara. Then you leave? Well, I'm humbly denying your request. You may stay, Oxy. Thanks. What if we hold hands? Rui and I type in Ooga Booga. I see that. I see that. Zhongli has the best voice? In which language? In which language, Guria? Because Ito... I'm not saying any other character isn't great. I'm just saying that every one, and I've listened to all of the languages, every one of his VAs is amazing. All of them. All 4. He's perfect in every shape, way, and form. Man is a 10 out of 10. In every way. Anyway. You like my model a lot? Thank you, Lala. So, actually, I wonder... I can't remember what the thingy was. Was it VTato stuff? Ah, so what I'm using is VTuber Kit. If you've wanted to do VTubing ever, VTuber Kit is free. It's really easy to use. It can make super cutes like this. I made this myself. It is amazing. I love it. The guy who's making it is still working on it as well. He like sometimes streams when he's like updating stuff. It is amazing. Anyway, Ella needs to go to bed. It's 7 a.m. Ella, do you need to sleep? It's okay. Please go sleep. If you need to, please. Also, go stretch your legs before you go to bed. Go have some water. I was gonna say have a snack, but maybe not if it's 7 a.m. I think you just need sleep. And maybe a bit of water. Go bitch! So I'm in South Africa. I don't know where you guys are from. But it must be Asia, right? If it's the AM for you guys. Asia or Australia? New Zealand, perhaps? No, it's before that. India? I'm bad with time zones. Korea! Oh, I even read that earlier, Ella. I'm sorry. I did read that in your bio. Never mind. I am not smart. It's okay. Okay. But yes, sweetest dreams, Ella. Thank you again so much for the raid. It was so nice to meet you. You only listen to Genshin in English because you don't read. I mean, that's also fair. It's like fireworks. Purple with red doesn't suit well. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't like it too much. You forgot about Amber? Everyone forgets about Amber. It's okay. What else? Impressed by Ito's Japanese work. Yeah, vocalist. Yes. Ito's Japanese VA is a singer, and he did he did an opening for, what was it called? Soul Eater? Yeah. Very, very good music, very hype music, but also just an amazing VA for Ito. I think they chose for him so well. They just threw all the budget at Ito. They were like, here, take this boy. Make him amazing. Thank you, Ella. Thank you for the biddies. I'll try to catch a future stream of yours. Oh, of course, you as well. I'd love to cause trouble, cause shenanigans in your chat as well. But yes, thank you again so much for the raid. I'll see you, hopefully soon. You're also gonna beige now? Of course, Ree. Yeah, thank you. It's so nice to meet you as well, Ree. Take care. Sweetest dreams. Ito's story quest made me pull for him. Yeah. His story was amazing. I don't want to say I cried because I don't think I did, but I was close. I remember feeling very emotional. One of the few stories that I was really invested in. You lost your pity to lost prayers. It was also a good weapon. Where? Oh, you were talking about that other weapon, Wanderer's weapon. Right back at you. Thank you. You want it for the ding ding sound effect? It makes ding ding. I did not know that. Also, Epic, thank you as well for the biddies. Cheering so that my name can be below Ella. Nice, thank you. Sorry, I'm just scrolling up. Because I'm missing messages. Because my brain is numing. No, my brain is not numing, but the chat is. Sorry. If y'all get the chance, listen to the video where Ito's Chinese voice actor does the impression of other characters. Oh my god, that sounds amazing. I do need to. I just want to ara or a does I? What's a does I? I doesn't know what that is. Bubble, do you want to hear a joke? I don't know. Do I want to hear a joke, Bubble? Depends on the joke, don't it? Is it a good joke or is it a bad joke? Will you feel bad? If you— oh, there's cats fighting outside. Guria can't type. Sorry. Also on his passive, oh my god, all the jingles. I love the jingles, guys. Parametric transformer. Oh, is that the joke, Bubble? Did you guys do your parametric transformers? This is a reminder. Where is it there? This is a reminder to go do it. If you have not done it yet and you're a lazy piece of shit like me, you come here, you teleport here, you jump down into the ravine just below. There's like a little place. It's got them electro rocks. You just go drop it there and you watch it. You be a lazy bum like me and you just watch it. You don't do anything. But yes, I like the jingles. So I have, well, I guess, does she jingle? No, she got a bell on her wrist, on her foot wrist, on her ankle. She make jingle. I see we don't hear it when she's running. But I know everyone definitely heard it when I went to a convention dressed as Yaemiko because she has a bell on her ankle. And it jingles. It's loud as well. So there was no chance of me hiding from anybody with them jingles. But also, nowhere, not a single spot on her body has got space for a bell, and yet she jingles all the same. I don't know what's jingling. But with every step she takes, there's a jingle. No matter what she's doing. I want someone to point out this bell to me because I have looked her outfit up and down. As a cosplayer, I have a keen eye and I just cannot find the bell. I don't know where it is. Is there actually a ribbon between her butt cheeks that she's clenching and she's holding the bell? Because I cannot find it. I don't know where this bell is, but she jingle all the same. Where is the bell? Shinyan, also fun. She makes drum sounds. She makes drum sounds when she runs? Coco, you like Kokomi? My what do I call her? Jellyfish princess, jellyfish waifu. She's beautiful. I considered cosplaying her for like a hot second, but the wig puts me off. Because I've already suffered with a long wig on Yae. I don't want to do it again for Kokomi. I wanted to look at... Wait! This girly. Oh, I'm on the wrong team. Never mind. This soundtrack slaps, man! I think that's what I was... That's one of the things I was talking about earlier. Oh, I'm not gonna hear anything now. The most slapper soundtrack. That's fine. I'll wait for it to ease up. Yeah, she's a character that I've never played, never really looked at. She's kind of just there. In fact, when I got her, I was super, like, annoyed and or salty because I think I C6'd her on her first banner, or at the very least she was C5. I got a lot of her when she came out, and I don't remember which banner she came out on. Oh, I hear it now. It's faint, but it's there. You go clip? Are you stealing from someone? Are you klepto? No, I'm joking. Have a good night, Oxy. Take care of yourself. She's a little odd to figure out because she has split scaling. She's fun to play with Rosaria and Kitching. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. Kitching is another character who's been wildly unloved on my account. Any character after Yunfei is a character that I've never used, never built, never looked at, never done anything with. You are a klepto? Oh my god. Oxy, go sleep. No steal, only sleep. So, Chi-Chi, poor girly. C2. Ah, Yunjin. I should use her. She's really cool. I don't have cons for her, really. But she could be really good with Ayato. The Bae, I think she was one of my first C6 characters, actually. Just never ended up using her. Lisa, just never ended up using her. Poor Tomato, this poor boy. Hi, Chris. Oh my god. Chris, why are you up so late, homie? Amber. Alloy. Kuching. Noelle. She was C5 for the longest time. Ningguang, I honestly didn't know she was C4, but that's cool. Chongyun, also C4. Kaya, C2. Razor. And Dori. Dori is level 7. Farazan, also, I'm not gonna use her. I do not have cons for her. And I don't really play with animo mains. Like, I have a Zhao, he's built, he's good. But I don't play him enough to justify trying to get cons for her yet. You need to level up Yunjin. She's one of your favorite designs. She is... I think I really liked the performance that she did. Where is she? Why can't I see her? There she is. The opera, that was very fucking cool. Her attacks and her animations. Like, come on, man. She's very cool. Yeah. When she came out, it was around the time, I think, when Big Geo was happening. So, like, I was focusing heavily on Geo, and she didn't seem to fit in with the general Geo squad, I guess. So she's a Geo character, but she doesn't really work. She doesn't synergize well with them. So yeah, maybe someday. Like I said, I have that that Ayato team that I'm building. She could be interesting to use. But yeah, I don't know how important cons are on her. So I haven't really looked. You cried during her singing cutscene. Chinese opera is pretty. It is. It is. Why am I up so late? What? I'm streaming until midnight, sir. That's what I normally do. In fact, I started stream late because I had load shedding, so yeah. But you didn't answer my question, Chris. Why are you up? Why are you awake? Alright. So, I'm buffering. Oh, I was looking for chests, wasn't I? This music started again. Cool. Did I even get a single %? I don't think I did. Hi, Crossing Point! Crossing Point! Did you tell one of your friends to come say hi to me at Rage? Cause they used a people name that I didn't know. And then they were buffering for a second. Trying to think of your name. But yeah, Happy New Year. I hope this year brings new opportunities, new joy, but most importantly, taking care of you and yourself. Cause no more pressure on ourselves to burn ourselves out all the time. If COVID taught me anything, it's that you should be a priority to yourself, no matter other people. Just focus on yourself. There's so many people in the world. You main Zhongli? Ah! You learned you like playing Noelle? Yeah, she's, like I said, she was one of the characters that I haven't really, like, put any time into. But I wasn't sure about playing Catalyst characters. Because before I got Yae, I didn't really have any Catalyst characters, like damage ones. So the characters that I have built and have used, all the ones at the end here, basically, you know, the inverse of what I showed you earlier. Anyone after Yunfei. But I didn't play Yunfei when I got her. Because when she came out, she refused to come home. I had no cons. I did 60 something pulls for her on, because she came on, was it Zhongli's? It was Zhongli's rerun banner. That's when she arrived. She refused to come home. I got one of her and nothing else. But I got 2 Zhongli's, a Diluc and a Jean. And I was just like, okay, but I want this one. So anyway, so I didn't have like any damage catalyst characters. Support. I only got her recently. This was the first like catalyst main DPS that I had, and I wasn't sure I was gonna enjoy her, but now she's one of my mains. So I have 3, well, Nahida as well, I guess. But like my 3 mains, these babies. And I am glad. I almost didn't pull for her because I was like, man, Catalyst? I don't know. But she was very pretty. I couldn't resist. You might have? No worries, no worries. It's not a bad thing. It's just like we were both standing there because they said the people name and I just looked at them like lost and confused. And then the second they said Crossing Point, I may or may not have startled them by shouting in excitement. I don't know. But yeah, as soon as they said your name, I was like, oh yes! So my bad if I did startle them, I don't know. This is the year we love ourselves. Exactly! 100%. You're not great with Catalyst, but by the time I learn Wanderer, I'll be an expert. Yes! Do it! Do it. Put in the time for the characters that you love. Like, I have been doing a lot of reading, watching videos, going over character builds, shuffling weapons and artifacts around, just trying to do better damage, just trying to understand the characters better. It's difficult though because I have a really short attention span, and like watching videos is hard because I put it on and immediately forget. Even though there's sound playing, I immediately forget that I'm watching it. So yeah, I find it difficult. But I'm trying. You wanted Yaya and Nahida, but Muchi was more important. And then that little shit only came out came home once. So never asked me for anything again. Yeah. I got Yaya the first time she came out. And then Nahida. But Nahida should be coming back. So Lala, if you do want... Oh, I call her Nana. So Lala, if you want Nana... she should be coming out. They say all of the Archons come out 4 patches after their release. So it's predicted that Nahida will be back out in 3.6 because she came out in 3.2, right? So that's what people say. So if you are looking to get yourself a Nana, she will be coming out. You can start saving maybe if you want. Me with every Genshin build video, that's why I gotta skip around through the juicy bits. Exactly. Gotta look for the screenshots and stuff. But, crossing point, if you are on my Discord, even if you're not, it's okay. I'll post the link here as well. There is, maybe you guys know it, there's a website called Catching Mains. Those people do all of the math, like crazy math for this game. Math that I cannot comprehend. Luckily, however, there is a spreadsheet that is very useful, has a lot of information on recommended builds and team comps. So if you want to use, this is basically like a summaried version of Catching Mains. It's very helpful. It's a quick guide. It's a quick access to information. So yeah, that's what I use. Because my brain can't comprehend a 30-minute video. Please. Let me just look at this table that someone made in Excel and I can cope with this. I cannot cope with a 30-minute video. It's too much. Too much information. Genshin Helper? Oh, I don't know Genshin Helper. I feel the attention thing so bad. I want to focus on building characters, but then I'm like, I want to build all of them? Oh, yeah. You kind of have to, like, decide. So for a long time, I was trying to finish off this guy. But I had, like, a really... I don't think I still have the old one. I think I might have gotten rid of it. Which one? Husk. Yeah, I got rid of it. In my saltiness, I got rid of it. But... he had a really bad sans for a very long time. It was so bad trying to farm for him that I completely kitted out my Kokomi. Her 43k HP, this bitch, she got fully kitted out in Clam set. She's currently using Tenacity, but she got fully kitted in Clam while I was trying to build my boy. God damn, it was heartbreaking. And then the same thing happened when I was trying to build this boy. Ugh. Heart of Depth? I hate this domain. I never want to go back. But I fully kitted out this baby girl and Rosaria. And possibly other characters as well. I can't remember. But I kitted out 2 characters and I still don't have... I have dog shit on this boy. Ugh. Pain. Anyway, months sunk into trying to improve his stats and I just can't. I am cry. I'm done. Strong boxing all your depth and Straya because you hate that domain? Yeah, I do that as well now. I can't be asked. I never want to go back there if I can help it. But anyway. I'd like to learn why it works, but the problem is I'm small brain. Yes! Smooth and small. Like a koala's brain. That is my problem as well. So I need like bite-sized chunks of information. I'm very lucky that I have a very patient boyfriend who sits and explains things to me. He started playing this game and now I feel like he knows more than I do, but he also can explain it for small brain. So yeah, he helps me with a lot of things now. Heart of Death domain will be the death of you. Just strong box it, man. One of the best domains that you can do. Where is it? This one. This is apparently one of the most resin efficient domains you can do because this set is just used by a lot of characters. It's an amazing, like, support, but I think Raiden also uses it, but it's just an amazing set. And then I call it Shamalama Ding Dangs, but Shimenawa's is also a really, really good set. It's basically, it's a way of farming, you know, the attack, what is it called? Glads? Yeah, it's a way of farming Glads, basically. One of the few sets that you can actually farm like that. So yeah, it's a really good domain to farm. So farm the fuck out of this and then just strongbox the rest of the shit, because fuck that noise, man. Absolute waste of my mental health to farm that domain. I can't go back, man. Anyway. You're still trying to build. Oh no! The Hydro Boys are ruining your life. And the worst part is that there's not even that many of them. We need more Hydro characters, man. It's a drought currently. On my Ayator, I use 4-piece Glads, apparently. Today I learned. So apparently the damage difference, I know at least for Tartuglies, the damage difference between Heart of Depth and was it that other set? Was it for Ayator? So oh wait. It was one of the newer sets. If you have bad ping like I do, that other new blue set is just not worth using because of ping, and I don't understand why. I just know people who are smarter than me have done the math. It's got something to do with this. You can't use it efficiently if you have high ping. And I'm like, well, I'm just running at a casual 178 most of the time, so guess I'll just not use it. They're like, if you have under 100 ping, and I'm like, shut up. Shut up. I don't know what that feels like. Anyway. Genshin maths is very real. I can't. Too small brain. Koala brain. Very grateful there are people who understand statistics that help us. Exactly. My god. Shimenawa is good for Wanderer. Ah, until you get his best. Oh, that's very nice. Zhongli main. You know what? I think I actually changed my Zhongas recently to have emblem as well. He's got kind of a weird build on at the moment. It's not great. Okay, I don't know why his crit damage is so high. Did I forget to change the weapons? I did! I was like, his crit damage shouldn't be that high. I've clearly messed something up here. Let me just switcheroos. Take your son's weapon back. Thank you. There we go, that looks better. But yeah. He also has emblem. Also, yeah, burst support.
Excuse me.
Whoa, Phoenix Omega, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. Sorry guys, my brain is slow. I'm trying to. You got Shimenawas on your Melt Ganyu and your Emiya. Ah, an emblem on like 6 different characters. It's good. It's very good. I didn't know you used it on Ganyu. I know people use it on Yoimiya, but I didn't know about Ganyu. That's interesting. Then I found out he's fun to play. Oh man, he is. He was my first limited character. This was my first 5-star. I got cock-blocked. Klee's banner and Venti's banner, neither of them came home. Instead, this chuckle fuck came home. And then because I got Diluc, then he was guaranteed. So I got him. I used to play him a lot. I don't really play him anymore. Unfortunately. I just get too sad looking at his stats. Yeah, I think I only really use Zhongli. Whoops, I only really use Zhongli in my Geo team, but he is built for burst support if I'm not mistaken. You got Jean before 2023 came along. Nice! I admittedly don't use Jean as much as I should. I've started using her recently, but I really want her second constellation because it makes her cray-cray good. You outie Smurf! Have a wonderful evening, friend. Take care of yourself. Sweetest dreams. And maybe, yeah, I was gonna say go drink some water. If you've had a hot day. You're in a work call, be keeping an eye. Oh shit. No worries, Jargon. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to hear me actually. I could say anything. You have a C0 gene. Don't worry, you'll get cons. Is she your favorite character to play, Phoenix? What are you? Right, Smurf? Okay, what is for the toilet? That's where we use water. It's in the toilet, man. It's not for human consumption. Gross. Zhongli normal attack combo where he kicks the spear. Oh my gosh. Have you... Lala, have you ever wanted to be a spear? Do you want to be a spear in this moment? Just for you, Lala. Gonna affectionately refer to that spear as Lala now. Just so that you can get kicked by Zhongli. What is this water slander? I don't know what you're talking about, Krusty Point. Are you trying to tell me that your toilet does not have water in it? Gross. You drink that stuff that's in the toilet? Ew. God bless. Oh, gosh. You switched Zhongli from a shield bot to DPS because he's just fun to play. He is! Man, nothing better, my current Zhongers, nothing better than dropping a 100k meatball on things. My god. It's amazing. I have a wonderful time dropping meatballs on things. This comp, this is my Geo team. I got Daddy Zhongli. I got the Buffer. The Geo Buffer Poofer. The puppy boy. He's best boy in the Geo team. And then of course we have the actual best boy. If you aren't using Bennett in one of your teams, then we just need to have a discussion, right? Because he is undeniably best boy. I will fight for this boy. Anyway, and then of course, the one and only. But yes, big love for Grandpa Geo in my Geo team. You want Eula? What kind of team would you use with Eula? I'm not very familiar with her because she's a physical character. I got you there. Hey. Don't be drinking that toilet juice, man. Benny Boy has your whole heart. Protect him at all costs. Yes. He's such a... I feel like his design could have got a lot more love. But honestly, for such an unlucky kid, maybe less detail on him is a better thing. I feel like maybe if he had a big flappy cape, he'd get sucked into a jet engine or something, you know? Superhero style. So maybe minimal design is safer for him and everyone around him. But he is good boy. He's best boy. I love him very much. So what was I was saying? I feel like I was saying something before. This is just a team of good boys, basically. I don't really use this team, but it's like small vape, I guess. This is one of my electro comps. This is my freeze team. Subject to change, subject to whatever the fuck I feel like on that particular day. But Rosaria and Ayaka together, they make a nasty combo. I love them. They're both nasty girls. They just freeze everything. I love it. Electric Boogaloo, I haven't really played this at all. Because my Raiden is poo-poo caca. She needs a lot of work. Spicy cookies, I use this quite a lot. This is a team that I use in the Abyss. I use the Freeze team and the Geo team. Those are like my 3 teams. Maybe one day my Raiden team will be strong enough. You got a badge? Of course, Guria. You need your energy to cause shit tomorrow, don't you? Sweetest dreams. Always good to see you, friend. Take care. Go drink some toilet juice before you go sleepies. Bennett is a good boyo, but I don't really use him a lot. But you'll defend him with your life? Yes! He's... Yeah, I really like him with the Geo team. I used to use him a lot, so when I started playing this game, because I had... Damn, this music's loud. When I started... Spatu! I forgot where I was going with that sentence. Because he was my first 5-star, I used him a fuckload, along with Girly A, Xiangling. I love her. She's also amazing. And then also Official. Also a really nice girly. A little bit annoying with how much she speaks, but it's okay. And then Babs. I use Babs a lot until we got to Dragonspine, and then it just made life horrible. I think at some point then I started using Bennett, but I don't remember. The audacity? Ain't no audacity here. I don't know what you're talking about, Guria. You gotta get around to building Rosaria. Do it! Crossing Point! What is your freeze team? It's gotten you through so many Abyss cycles. What is it? What does your freeze team consist of? Shipatsu! Eula with Hydro damage boost artifacts. Use Candace's Elemental Burst for Hydro AoE effects, along with Eula's Elemental Burst to cause the freeze. Oh, Phoenix, that's actually quite interesting. I've never considered that. You're trying to learn how to play Rosaria too? The crit buff is delicious. That's why, that's my Ayaka. She only has 31%, but because she's running Blizzard Straya, right? She gets that crit rate buff. She also then gets... where would I see it? Is it here? Yeah, Elemental Resonance. So like for the Cryo team, they've got this one. So if they're frozen or affected by Cryo, it's an extra 15%. And then Rosaria, on top of that, Girly. So she's got 72% here, but she's also got Blizzard Straya. So her crit's pretty good. And then her something gives crit. Yeah. This thing gives crit as well. So she buffs the crit for my Ayaka enough that she does really good damage. But I am looking to, I think, replace Mona with Shenhe when she does come out. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm very excited. I've been waiting for so long for that girlie to come out. Diluc was your first 5-star. 2 days later, you got Ganyu and Zhongli, and you never touched him again. Okay, that's kind of nice though, because Ganyu and Zhongli together are great. Official is your absolute #1 daughter. Her shoulders are buff from how hard she carries. So I don't know if you guys played in the first year of Genshin, but they did kind of like a recap thing. And on the recap for my first year of Genshin, it was like, I think my most played... Yes, Benny. Shipatsu. My most played character was Xiangling, but my first character to 10 friendship, if I'm not mistaken, was Fischl. Because that's how much I used these two in the beginning. They were like... And they're still besties now. Guoba and Oz go on dates, lunch dates with each other all the time. They're always hanging out together. On field. And off field, I guess. But yeah, I use them a lot. They're amazing. Together, a wombo combo. I love them. She carried early game so hard. Spatu! Ganyu, Venti, Kokomi, and Layla. Oh, really? And the last one previously being Diona. Oh, how are you finding Layla? I don't have her. So if we search for a moment. Is it this one? We have a look at my archive, see which characters I'm missing. So obviously I don't have Scaramucci. I don't have Layla. Because she was on... Was it the Yae rerun? Yeah, so I didn't get her. I don't have Nilo or Sino because I was saving for Nana. I don't have Candace, obviously, because she was on Sino's banner. I skipped Yelan, which makes me sad, because who don't love Tiggle Biddies, you know? This is the next character I want to go for. Venti was my first 5-star. Still do not know how to explore without him. Lala, I don't have Venti, and I don't have Kazoo. Like, and people ask me, they're like, how do you explore without them? I'm like, what do you mean? I fucking struggle, man. Now there's Wanderer as well? Fuck. Anyway, I will be getting Kazuha when he does come out eventually. Xiangling official combo is death. It is still death, I think. I think it's still a very nice combo. Because that on-field damage, and then you can have someone else out. It's beautiful. I love it. It's great. Makes big happies. You risked ruining your guaranteed Scaramouche. Oh my god. Because you had to have Layla. Her design is so good. She's so cute. I love her. My favorite thing is her little ears, like, poking out here. They have, like, little gold jewelry on the ends. It's not very visible because she moves... she moves around a lot, but, like... There we go. And it's under her hood. But, yeah, on both of her ears. It's so cute. Oh, and she's sleepy, baby. I love her. You love her hair when she twirls? Is it like an idle animation? Or is it like part of her attack? Yellen hot, Yellen mommy. She got them Tiggle Bitties. How could I resist? I had to resist. Oh, when she attacks butts. One day I'll get her. But yeah, I didn't get Yelan because I had just gotten Ayato. I was like, why do I need another Hydro character? I think she's, well, besides Candace, she's the only other Hydro character that I don't have. I got all the other babies. Yelan is, I would say Yelan is, oh wait, there's Nilo. I keep forgetting about her. Whoops. She would be a priority after I get Shenhe and Kazuha. She's a character I'd like to get. Oh, she has a stronger shield than Diana. You have Kokomi for healing. Ah, synergizes well with Gunny's burst. And keeps Peeps frozen. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. I can see how that's a good thing. Good combo. Sorry guys, I'm very bad at reading chat, like, in order. My brain just goes elsewhere. She looks like she just learned how to hold a sword. Oh man. You use Yelan with Skara? Oh. I wonder if Xingqiu would also be quite good with Skara then. Because they work very, very similarly. They both have terrible haircuts as well. Good god. You came back as Sino came out. You pulled him basically on accident. Oh no! Need to get to Sumeru so I can start leveling. Oh yeah, Lala! Definitely. He seems like a really fun character. I just can't get over the fact that he don't got nipples, man. It's kinda strange. Where the nips at though? Why no nips? Make it make sense, Sino. Whoa. Level me like the hot mom. He lost them in the war. He lost his nips in the war. Oh man. Sorry for asking, Sino. I should have minded my own goddamn business. But yeah, so next priorities for me. These two babies, and then after that Yelan. And then actually, what is that other character that I wanted? Oh, Baiju. He's coming out after Shinhe, supposedly. I say supposedly because it's leaked, so I have no idea. But, yeah. I've been waiting for him. My god. We all thought he was going to be the Dendro Archon. Turns out, no. And I'm just like, shit. In my heart, he's still in some way. There was just too many things pointing to him being the Archon. It's not the case, obviously, but I've been wanting him for a long time. Yeah, but I really like the Dendro characters. I want them all. The only one I'm not interested in is Alhaitam. He's just... There's something about him that's just not interesting, and I don't know why. I know a lot of people want him, but he's just not for me, man. So I'm gonna skip Roonies on his banner. I will get a copy of Yao Yao, my sweet girlie, on that event, the New Year event, and then hopefully I can get cons for her in the future. But otherwise, I'm not that interested. And then, what was the other thing? Kave? I think it's Kave. I need him as well. He's a sassy motherfucker. I like him. He can stay. You watch those speculation videos about him being the secret or previous Archon? Yeah, man. Fuck. I was just... Listen, I was riding the hype train on that. And I was like, this man has a white snake. Hello? I don't know if you know, there's like a... It's like a Chinese, like, mythology story about how a god wants to... doesn't want to be a god anymore and instead wants to live amongst the humans. And so, if I'm not mistaken, it was a woman, but she turns herself into a white snake to kind of like, I don't know, like look at the world or something? Like to kind of like get a feel for it. And I was just like, come on, man. The man's has got a white snake around his neck. Is that not a symbol? Does that mean nothing? It's like a Chinese, like, thing, right? Because it's a Chinese game, so it makes sense that they would draw inspiration from, like, myth and whatever. And I was just like, come on, man! It's the story of the white snake! Is it not? It's not. Spoiler alert. You need the Yusa Koji, voice-acted Snake Man. I don't know who Yusa Koji is, but does he voice some characters that you like, Lala? I'm glad I'll be able to skip all item, save for possible Ayaka rerun. Yes, join Ayaka squad. Join us. The signs were all there. They truly were. They pulled a fast one on us. They hambonied the shit out of us there, Crossing Point. Unbelievable, actually unbelievable. But yeah, so yeah, that's all the characters that I'm missing. I don't spend a lot on Genshin. But yeah. I would also love to get Yoimiya at some point. But she's another one. She's on the same category as Yella, and it's like, okay, after the priority characters, I'll go for them next if there's no one else in line. But yeah. They seem fun. I hate when they come around and I have to try them out and skip them. Same with Sino, I really enjoyed him. You said he was like Unga Bunga style, like Ito. Yeah, I remember I enjoyed playing him in the domain and I was like, don't do it! Don't do it! Do it for Nahida! Do it for Nana! Save! Don't spend! Don't roll! I had to be strong. You pull willy-nilly? Oh, I can't. I have characters that I want. I know I'll be sad if I don't get them. Ayato and Ayaka were the two I wanted to make sure I pulled. So you're halfway there. Oh, you got Ayato? Nice. Yeah, he's actually a really fun character to play as well. I've started playing with him again recently. Because I didn't for a while. Sino is a killer. Oh, he's fun to play. I hate it, and it's a weird thing to say, but I hate when the fun characters come out in the thing and I know I have to skip them. Because then there's a little voice in my head that's just like, no, just do a temple, just one. And I'm like, no, must resist. And I hate having to resist that voice. My brain's just like, do it. I'm like, no, 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 no. Especially when there's a character, like if it's a rerun. I did 60 pulls on Kazuha's banner. If I'm not mistaken, Ito actually came out. Oh, I forgot to flex earlier. My Ito is C6. I forgot to mention that. But I did 60. I think I did 60 pulls on Kazuha's banner. I got ka-chinged instead. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna save the rest for Ito. Because I wanted to get cons for him. Oh, I wanted C2. And that was his first rerun banner. I got him to C4 because I was trying desperately. Guys, it's not even funny. I was trying desperately to get constellations for my girlie over here. My waifu, my love, Kuki-chan. She came home once in 160 pulls. One cookie! And instead of getting cookies, so I had, on my first Ito banner, I was guaranteed. And then I got another one. I won the 50-50. Then his rerun came around. And I was guaranteed. And then I won the 50-50. I think I won the 50-50 again. Yeah, that was, so I was guaranteed and then won. So I won this 50-50, I won this one, and I won this one. Then when his second rerun banner came out, I won the 50-50 because I wasn't guaranteed, and then I won another 50-50. So my Ito didn't lose a single 50-50. And he was guaranteed twice. So that was some A-grade bullshit. I want a cookie so bad, guys. I can't tell you. I did 160 pulls. 160. I got one cookie. Ito really wanted to come home. Yeah. Cookie kept pushing him forward. Like, go, 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 go. She didn't want to come home. She was like, nah, son, I'm good. Then the cherry on top, his weapon. Like, I can even show you guys, actually. Which browser can I use? This one. Because I have it on Paimon. Moe. My wishes. My wish counter. Because this is like some classic actual bullshit that this happened. His weapon came home on the 6th pull. And I was just like, bro, give me peace in my heart. Please and thank you. We're not worthy. Yeah, no, it's mad shit. So here was the first banner. I got Chi-Chi'd. Can I make this bigger for you guys? There we go. I got Chi-Chi'd. This was... I don't remember which banner this was. Was this the... Oh, I can't remember. But I rolled and I got Chi-Chi'd. And so then I was guaranteed for my first Ito, and then I got the second one. And then I got Chi-Chi'd. Oh no, that was for Ayato. I got Chi-Chi'd again before Ito. And that's where I got the 3. And then where was the most recent one? Okay, so yeah, I guess Diluc. This is the worst pity I've ever had. 81. Actually the worst. But yeah, Nahida then came home very quickly after that. And then yeah, there's another 2 150-50s for thing. And then his fucking weapon came home in the 6th pull as well. So like, everything about him was like, yes, I want to be here. More than anything, he wanted to be here. Oh yeah, I got double Nahida as well. I wanted to go for C2 because her C2 is crazy, but who came out after that? I think it was a rerun. Was it Kokomi's rerun? It was Kokomi's. No wait, I just saw it now. Oh no, it was Ito. It was Ito's banner. I was like, I need to C6 him. But before Nahida came out was Kokomi. I rolled on her banner. She took ages to come home. But yeah. So I was a little bit broke from getting my Kokomi, and then I got Nahida, and then I was saving for C6ing. Because I was like, he already C4, I might as well go C6. So yeah. He does delicious damage now. But yeah, I've had pretty good luck, I think. It's just like I have really bad good luck. Because, yeah, I have a C6 Ito, but this character who is amazing at C6, I didn't get any. So I'm hoping that she comes back on a banner that I roll on in the future because I really want cons. At the very least, like the minimum, I want at least C1 because this is... I'm jealous. My boyfriend's got a C6 cookie. And I keep watching, like when he plays on her, because I see the giant AoE, I'm like, oh, that's nice. The other day, I didn't know Cookie had this. She has a second life, bro. Diablo match. It's amazing. Do you know how many times in Abyss my Cookie die? If she just survived for a second longer, oh. Goddamn. Anyway. Enough of me being salty about not having cookies. So that happened, I mentioned it earlier as well. That happened with Yanfei as well. Because I really wanted her. Cries in C0 cookie. Same. Same. But yeah, I really wanted Yanfei. She refused to come home. Your Cookie always on life support? She is, but that's how you're supposed to play her. She's supposed to be on life support. That's why she needs that second life, yo. But my Cookie's almost always... She's got no health ever. I don't know about now. But she truly does run in... which one is it? Spicy cookies. She truly runs in... Oh no, she's pretty... She got pretty good health at the moment. But almost always her bar is sitting in the red. I'm like, why? She's supposed to be... What is it, like under 50% or something? It's just sometimes I'm a little bit lazy to stay on her for longer than half a tick, so I switch. Sub 50, not sub 10. Yeah, it's because I'm lazy. I'm lazy, I'm impatient, I don't want to wait for another tick. Her AoE is not big, feels bad, man. Anyway, I think my Cookie could excel if she had C6. But she does very okay. She does very okay as she is now, so it's okay. Trying to get more sleep this year. Sweetest dreams, Crossing Point. It was nice to see you again. And yeah, have a wonderful evening. Sweetest dreams. I hope you wake up feeling refreshed. I actually need to start heading off soon as well. Ooh, there's another box. I was supposed to be looking for treasure chests, and instead we sat here for like half an hour yakety-yakking about characters. This is a-okay. I definitely had a good time. Let me actually come over here. I don't know if I've been on that other beach. That beach. But yeah, this is currently, I think, my favorite team to play. I call it the Spicy Cookie Squad. Going this way? No, I want to go this way. I'm directionally challenged. Yeah, so basically it's just aggravate. With the little animo character in there as well. It would be nice to swap Sucrose out for Kazuha, but then having two big swirly characters would also be really nice. If I do end up running like Aggravate and Freeze team, I think they could both deal with an animo character being thrown into the mix, and that could work really well. I don't remember ever coming this side. Like, ever coming to this beach. But apparently there's nothing here anyway. And that's inaccessible, whatever it is. Oh! There's a little... Ara. There's a chest in that direction. Let's go help this Ara. My bro! How many friends you got here? Do they all want to fucking go? Oh, jeez! And that's why I like playing Aggravate. It's a very laid back, very lazy team for me. Not much work required. Wow. A lotus for me? You hate swirling on your Dendro teams? You're lazy to do it right? Do you mean like with the Aggravate? Oh, now it's pointing down? What? Oops. It was pointing this way just now. Where is that? Oh. I wonder when we get to explore here. Because that looks like something. The nice thing about the aggravate like swirling is that you only have to worry about swirling the electro. There's no umming and ahhing about what you'll be swirling. That's one thing I'm unsure about with the crossover there. There's one thing I'm unsure about with using Animo in a freeze team. I'm like, okay, but are you swirling the hydro or the cryo? And you don't get to pick what you swirl anyway, so... Whoa, there's guys over there. Let's see. I wonder if we'll ever get more energy or if this is like... They've capped us here, because any more than this is ridiculous amounts. I know, I wouldn't mind more. Like for open world? Yes, definitely, give us more. They could cap us for like domains and stuff. That I don't mind. But not in the open world, man. Let me do a little bit more sprinting and stuff. Oh! How rude. It was just sitting there. I'm pretty sure I came this way for like a story or something. Just somehow missed the chest. Nothing else around here? Well, it said there was something underground here, but how the fuck do you get underground? There must be a cave entrance somewhere. Well, that looks weirdly straight. Can't zoom in anymore. Swirling in Dendro takes a little more brain, since I usually have my character set up 4, 3, 2, 1. I want an Eater to put her E first, then I have to swap around in weird orders, and it bothers me. Ah. I see, I see. So you swirl the cryo from Shenhe then. Hmm. So yeah, makes sense. So I go Cookie first, then Nahida, then Swirl, and then I switch into Yae after that. So that's normally the order that I'll go in. But I think yeah, I don't really have a set order that characters go in, but I have more like a set for each team, because for my Geo team, I'll go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 4. Ooh. Down. Is it in the log? Or in the stump? Yeah. Because of how I do the buffs. But I obviously it would change depending on the teams. Can't do them all the same, unfortunately. Because they're not built that way, yo. Hehe. Anything in here? No? Man, this would have been a good spot to hide something. Oh? Did that just point down? Is that a chest in the water? What? The audacity. Oh? What? How am I supposed to... I mean, I guess like that. But my question now is how? Am I supposed to drain this water somehow? What? That just gave me the biggest fright. What the fuck? Oh my god. Did not know that was a thing. Was it literally just because of the time? And it's just turned midnight my time as well. That's kind of weird. Oh, wow. Takes those for... Lala, I'll tell you this now for free. You're not gonna have enough notes. You'll never have enough notes. This area will always bamboozle you. It is known. This place is confusing as all hell. Save your sanity, save your mental health, and just search for guides online. I'm not saying you're not capable. I'm just saying save your brain. Because this area, woo, it's something else. Well and truly something else. Now wait a second, wasn't I just up there? I was. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's very and the worst part of it is that it's all the same map, so you can't really see. What do you mean it's up that way? You can't really see, like, when something's underground or whatever. Ugh. It's actually the worst. You don't have sanity or mental health? You play Genshin? You know? Same. But it's fun, right? We have fun playing this game. I actually need to go, guys. I just want to get this last chest and then I'll skedoodle. But yeah, it's a lot. It's, there was another game that I played and I haven't played in a long time. Called Guild Wars 2. And that game brought out a map very similar that had multiple levels. But the one nice thing that they did in that game was they had maps that had levels. So, like, it was easy to tell when you had to go up or down. Genshin doesn't really give you that. This away. Really? Oh, is it just in the... It's another one in the stump, isn't it? Ah! Cool. Let's just, because it's not an actual chest that opens. Nice. How are we looking? Still 97! Oh wait, this was for this area. Never mind then, I guess. This is fine. I'm just gonna boop the audio down there, and then I'm just gonna... play song? Why so low? Is it gonna get loud? Oh, there it is. Okay, I think we're good. Alrighties, I need to go and find somebody to wade. I need to go find me a people. Let's, exit. Whoa! Why am I standing, man? I gotta sit down. Okay, we good. Let us see. Oh, thank you, Lala. It was nice to meet you too. It was nice to get to chat about Genshin peoples. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. All right, so let's see. Hi. Thank you very much, everyone, for chilling with me tonight. This was a very nice stream. We got a lot of stuff done, surprisingly. I don't know how. I don't know when or I don't know why. But it happened. We did the things. Let's see. Have we had any raids recently? Oh, I've taken you guys to a friend who was streaming Valheim before. Maybe let's go to a different one this time. I think playing with friends? It seems to be the case. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I raided her recently, but it's fine. We're gonna go over there anyway. So, Mama Eve is playing Valheim. What? Eh? I mistyped it. Like so? There we go. Okay, we're going to the right person. Fantastic. Alright, guys, we're gonna take all the love in our hearts. We're going over to Eve. She's currently playing Valheim with what looks like some friends. So, yeah, like I said, we'll take all the love in our hearts over to Mama Eve. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Go stretch your legs, go get something to drink, go get a snack, whatever you need. Go do the thing. I will likely see you guys tomorrow. I can't remember if it's a morning or an evening stream. But yes, nighty nights, everybody. Take care. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Bye, Lala. Bye, Joggin.